Hello fellow fighters, I thought we would do something different today and talk about Sagat in Street Fighter 5. Sagat is a very popular character. Obviously he was up there in the polls with all the different countries as one of the most popular characters. He has a really interesting story and gameplay style. I think people like both sides. They obviously like his gameplay with the classic Street Fighter play, and also he's one of the more interesting characters really. Through the game he's grown from kind of a bad guy to kind of torn to even good guy in the end, and perhaps maybe in Street Fighter 5 we'll see his story develop for those that are interested in that kind of thing. But I thought it would be interesting to speculate on what his moveset will be like, see how wrong or right I am. So we'll go through his V skill, his V trigger, what crush counters he will potentially have, his critical art, some normals, and I think I'll even throw in a section of gimmicks, what gimmicks I think he could have, and costumes, maybe even the archetype he will be, which will obviously affect his strength in the game. We can maybe go over some costumes unless the video drags out. You'll probably see some funny sections where this clip will pop up. These are the Capcom warnings. I'm going to try and guess how they might Capcomize him. As you guys know, in Street Fighter 5 a lot of the characters have been changed for this game, and it's going to be interesting to see what they do with Sagat. I don't think they'll be as extreme as some people have suggested, but strap yourself in guys, and maybe at the end I'll make a shorter video of this and see how right or wrong I was when he hits eventually. Alright, let's go.
Round one, fight!
And here we are in the old Street Fighter 4. I'm using this game obviously because we don't have Sagat in Street Fighter 5, and it's probably the closest thing since a lot of the moves are very similar. Big question, do I still have it? I do not know. I have not played this game in about a year. Yes. Still got it boys, still got it. So let's talk about the V skill. Now the V skill, I've got a couple of ideas of what I would like, and I've got a couple of things that I think they'll probably do. So the V skill I think will maybe be the hang on, the angry scar. Oh, was it 3 buttons or 2 buttons? I can't even remember. Maybe it was 3 buttons. I think it will be the angry scar. Now it would be easy to suggest that he gets invincible uppercuts in V skill mode, but I think that's too good, and also probably not what I would want for him. It's not really been done where a character gets infinite invincible reversals. There is the option that they will possibly power up the uppercut and give him more damage. That's a very real scenario, but here's my idea for the V skill, which probably won't happen, but I would think that people will enjoy this because Street Fighter 5, as you know, is a game that is kind of trying to be more simplified for players, not be too complicated. So my V skill would launch Sagat forward quick, like this. And I know a lot of you guys are saying, what the fuck are you talking about? What do you mean it launches himself forward? Well, once you press this, the V skill, you know, in Street Fighter 5, it's going to launch himself forward, but you're going to be able to do your special moves off of the V skill. So imagine pressing V skill, then Tiger Uppercut, and it does a Kara Uppercut, or Tiger Knee, or even a Tiger Shot. I think a lot of people would find that extremely fun, and if say one of his crush counters has the staggered state, then perhaps that will be his mid-range crush counter, this, then the Tiger Uppercut. I think that would be pretty cool. What do you guys think? So just a lunge forward, a Kara button essentially. I think that would be awesome, but Going Capcom's way, I think they will probably just do something like power up his tiger uppercuts, give him more damage. I don't think they'd go as crazy as giving him his tiger knee as his V-skill, but stranger things have happened. So since I mentioned crush counters before, I think we should talk about them next. Obvious contender is his standing fierce. Now this is where Sagat might be strong in the game. Long crush counter buttons seem to belong to a lot of the stronger characters. If you think of Guile's crush counter, the way it spins them up, I think that's probably what's going to happen. Same for Ryu's, the way it launches them in the air. A lot of the crush counter strength comes from the state that they are in as they get crush countered. I would really love it if this grounded Sagat and then you could link a tiger uppercut. That wouldn't be that high damage if you said that did 100 and the uppercut did 110. 210 for a crush counter I think is fair, because they've been trying to take the crush counters out of the game a little bit. Other obvious contender is his crouching fierce, but these buttons are very, very similar, so I've got a theory that they won't make both. He won't be a Nakali style character with lots of crush counters. Sweep will obviously crush counter because everyone's does. The only other one I think could be interesting is his high step kick, and make it like Ryu's, so it only hits high, which would essentially give Sagat the longest crush counter in the game. Now that would be unique. So characters could hit Sagat low, he will be vulnerable, but he gets a big range on that, and maybe at best you could link a jab, tiger uppercut, something like that, or perhaps even that makes them spin out because of the range buff. So yeah, I think that would be good. Stand fierce and step kick. Okay, we come to our first Capcom moment. I was thinking, I've been looking at Cody, and Cody is missing a lot of things that made him Cody in other games. I think he's a cool character and people seem to be enjoying him, but they have kind of taken away a lot of his signature moves, and I had a little bit of a thought that what if Capcom took away all of his step moves? What if he didn't have any? Now that sounds extreme, but I'm thinking if they don't do the Kara inputs, which they most likely won't complicate the game like that, and if they don't do my Kara V-skill idea, this is a possibility. He just will not have the step kicks. But there you go, that's the first Capcom-ized one. So moving on to the V-triggers, being a fireball character, I think it's quite obvious that they will make a V-trigger that was centered around his shots. So I would not be surprised to see V1 be the tiger shots somehow buffed up, basically Ryu's V1. Again, as a slight difference and keeping the game fresh, I really like juggles. I don't know about you guys, but I would like to perhaps say that does hit them into the air, that you can juggle with the V1 into more fireballs, perhaps even in the corner off of fireballs you can juggle into tiger uppercuts, something like that. But yeah, I think V trigger 1 will be some kind of fireball based V. Okay guys, big point of contention obviously is what's going to happen with the tiger shots. With online internet extreme reactions to things, it's common for people to go to the extremes, and I guess the extreme with Sagat is, I've heard mentioned that he will only have shots in V-trigger mode. Now I don't think that's going to be a thing. I'll tell you why. There's a pretty logical reason for it, outside of it being one of his main special moves and signature moves, is that in a game with two V-triggers, if one V-trigger is the fireballs, that would mean that in Street Fighter 5 there would exist a version of Sagat that does not have fireballs, unless both of his V-triggers are fireball related, which is unlikely. So logic dictates they aren't going to do anything stupid like make his V-trigger his fireballs. I think we can rule that one out. I'll probably look kind of daft if that comes back to bite me in the ass, but with the shots, we've got a couple of options here. We can turn him into a zoner, which unfortunately I think will mean he will get roughly the same frame data fireballs as Ryu, which is about 33 frame total, or 33 frame recovery. They're not going to give him guile fireballs, I can tell you that. At 28.8, it's far too good for a motion character with a DP. From memory, I think Ryu's Season 1 LP fireball was 31, and people bitched about that. So I don't even think they're going to cut the middle with a fireball. I think Sagat will have the same or worse fireballs than the current Shotos. Akuma probably having the slightly better fireball game because his knocks down. Ken's, I wouldn't be surprised to see him up about the Ken level with the fireballs. But one way of doing it is to deliberately give him bad plasma. So you can still use the plasma as a kind of long-range poke, but for example, Urien has pretty average fireball data, but he can do things with them on hit, charge version albeit. But I think a good idea for this version of Sagat, if we're going to not go down the zoner route, is what if we make his fireballs a bit more positive on block, maybe +1, +2 range, but make them real shit back here. Make them maybe 36 recovery, 35, 36, so even worse than Ken's. That probably sounds like a bad idea to some folk, but I'm trying to push this rush down version, mainly because I really think he will not get any better than Ryu. I cannot see them putting plasma in the game that will be better than Ryu's, and Ryu cannot zone at the minute. He just can't. You can't with them numbers, not with this game, the way it operates, the movement, the moves that beat fireballs. So yeah guys, I'm going to opt for badish zoning tools, but up close perhaps better potential on block and hit, maybe even juggle potential. So what do you guys think there? Now V2, I've had to think about this, because what do you do with Sagat? And if he is going to be a rushdown character, I was thinking to myself, what if you gave Sagat a kind of jury type V-trigger 2 that extended his moves like his tiger knee, so essentially he's getting kind of tiger knee loops and block strings. It would be a way to introduce kind of the tiger knee game that I don't think he will have in the normal state of the game, but into the V-trigger mode. So some kind of juggle state, you know, the way Jury links her moves, perhaps safe tiger knee pressure that's maybe +2 on block, that would lead to some kind of throw game. I think that would be really interesting for Sagat, for him to if they do whatever they decide to do with him, that he has that ability to rush down. Yeah. And just because I've mentioned the V-triggers, I've got gimmicks written down. I think one of the gimmicks that you could do from any of the V-triggers is obviously his low step kick. As we've seen in the game, Ibuki's crouching medium kick kunai V-trigger is extremely powerful. In Season 1, Chun-Li had slide trigger. I think that is definitely a way, if you can imagine cancelling that into trigger, and if that hits low and you have super, say, we'll get on to what his critical art will be in a sec, but let's imagine his critical art is Tiger Cannon. This hitting low would be quite powerful. You will freeze the screen, Tiger Cannon, you know, or if they give him destruction, I think that is definitely a gimmick that they can think about giving Sagat. They can make that move negative on block, obviously. That would be probably a bit too good if it was plus or even 0, but it shall probably work like Ryu's solar plexus or something like, something that moves him forward. Definitely gimmick potential there. Now on to the critical art. Now this is probably a point of contention, because those like me who are wanting the rushdown Sagat would probably be better off with something like Tiger Raid, Tiger Genocide, or Tiger Destruction. But saying that, I would actually really like him to have Tiger Cannon. Yes, Tiger Cannon, because believe it or not, I think that Ryu's critical art is one of the best in the game. It's just that he doesn't have it very often, but there aren't that many fireball critical arts in the game, and if you do what I said about the V1 trigger, so perhaps he gets the double hit shot or something, that's going to give you the Street Fighter 4 style full screen critical arts, or what I said about the low step kick into critical art. So my vote would be on the Tiger Cannon. I also think juggle potential, perhaps if they give him some juggles with the V-skill Tiger uppercut that I mentioned might be a possibility. You could then juggle into Tiger Cannon. But what do you guys think? Obviously Genocide will be, or Destruction will be the more rushdown orientated hit confirm, but yeah, I'll go for Cannon as my guess. Now on to the section that will obviously make or break the character, which is how he moves and how his normals operate. Now, I would not like him to be a slow Bison style character, but when I think about the game, if he has really long normals, right, I'm not sure about what they'll do with his health, because in Street Fighter 4 he was 1050 I think, which is slightly above average. I'd like to maybe see them take that down a notch and give him better walk speed. I really hope he's not a kind of lumbering character that lumbers around the screen like 4, unless they do what I did with the V skill and the dash. You can use that Kara V skill as a mobility tool. Or he can move around the screen with his steps. But yeah, I'd like his walk speed to be better. The long normals, I'm trying not to turn them into the best character in the game, and it's difficult because you want Sagat to be still Sagat. One thing in Street Fighter 4 is that his normals are not the best. And in top tier land in current Street Fighter 5, you sort of do need 2 mediums that will offer you a pressure string after. Now if they make his crouch and medium kick fireball true on hit or even on block, that will make up for his shortcomings in the close game, if they're going to make him a zoner. But I would like them possibly to adjust his medium punches so that maybe they're +2, which is kind of the big key in Street Fighter 5, so you can get in range for the throw game. And possibly, I didn't actually mean that, I meant to do a Tiger Knee, but if you could somehow, a la Kami, maybe get back in with the knees, maybe they wouldn't have to be plus on block, but if you could somehow get that pressure going with the Tiger Knee game. I personally love block strings, but I think that's where we might fall down, because a character with such long range normals, say for example Birdie in the current game, is kind of slow, and so is M. Bison. So this is just what I'm brainstorming here at the minute. He's definitely going to need a double medium to compete in the game, I would imagine. Even if it's kind of crouching to standing like Guile, because even though Guile is a hardcore zoner, he still has that close pressure section of his game. The double hit step high kick That will be good if it works like Ryu's axe kick. That may even turn into his meaty setup, so if you get a knockdown, it's kind of double dash into jab into tiger uppercut. I think Jury's double hit works like that as well. In fact, most of the game's kind of double hit moves can be linked, so I would like that to link into something, ideally. If they give him these back medium punch, oh, this is Street Fighter 5, so it's proximity, isn't it? So it won't work. If they give him his back medium punch, that will make his anti-air game extremely strong. Kamis, basically. That would mean he would rule the skies with the DPs and the back medium punch. So Sweep is most likely going to be slow. He was never a whiff punishy character. What else have we got? I think he's going to have a 3-framer when he wakes up. I think that'll be 3 frames, or that will be 3 frames, which will give him the 3 frames into trigger, or some kind of hit confirm. Hopefully, guys, hopefully. And what else have we got? Standing medium kick. They will most likely just copy Ryu's, and that could be a good button. Another interesting one for the normal will be obviously his standing light kick. I'm thinking here they will give him Ryu's standing light kick. Oh, doesn't this cancel in this version, that last hit? Oh, maybe it's just this hit. Shows you how long ago I played this bloody game. One thing with these moves, I'm wondering, this does 2 hits, this does 2 hits, this does 2 hits. I'm wondering if they will take all of those double hits out, and these will be single hit moves. Because the variance in normals in Street Fighter 5 doesn't seem to be that great, so I think they will probably give him that standing light kick cancel. Maybe that will be his Punisher 4 frames perhaps. That would be good, but yeah, wouldn't be surprised if these do not do double hits, even though after me saying that would be a good hit confirm. Yeah, that's something to look out for. And that about wraps it up, guys, for Sagat in Street Fighter Season 3. How close am I going to be? What do you think of my ideas? What do you think? Put some in the comments. What would you like to see? What would you like to be powerful? Obviously the V-trigger system seems to dictate how characters end up, but personally I would like it if he was a solid character without the V-trigger shenanigans. I find the game much more enjoyable that way personally than just popping 2 buttons and winning rounds. So subscribe, like, and stick your ideas in the comment section, guys.